Graboom. Where have I been? What's been happening in my life? I feel like I wanted to make a video formally about it because I feel like a lot of people actually have been asking me, when's, like, are you working? How's that been? How's this? How's that? Or just people asking to see me and all of these things. Wow. I don't know why I want to cry, but I'm not gonna. I got really sick last year. I got really sick last year. And it came out of nowhere. Which, now coming to find out, I've probably been dealing with this a long time. But long story short is, I've talked about my surgeries and stuff before. Some of you know me personally, obviously. And my hip pain, my liver journey, like all of that stuff may now be connected to what I'm experiencing, which has always been some of my surgeons' fear when it came to my hip surgery and stuff, of like, it's not going to help you if you have an autoimmune disease, which comes to find out they were right. Now figuring out what autoimmune disease that is kind of the hard part. But yeah, so I got really sick after I went to a winery with my family, and well, not my family, we're not just all getting young and turn at the winery, but I went to the winery with my aunt for her birthday and my mom, and basically I just had a crazy reaction that we think was like the alcohol, which I've never had a reaction with alcohol, so why am I just randomly having one now? But yeah, and I didn't drink a lot. I didn't drink a lot. I'm not a big drinker. So it just was really weird. I got really sick. I'm gonna insert pictures of what happened and everything like that, but I ended up getting these like hives and marks all over my body. My hands started to heat up. I started to get a lot of flushing in my hands. I got really sick. My body felt like it was on fire. I just had the craziest reaction ever. And I ended up in the hospital. My labs were really out of whack, but they couldn't figure out why because I didn't have a cold. The ER ended up putting that it was a viral infection because they couldn't figure it out. So that also, I feel like in this journey of trying to figure out what has been going on, has not been helpful, because everyone's like, well, you just got an infection one day and you just got sick. And it's like, no, I wasn't sick. The ER just couldn't figure it out and was like, we think this is an autoimmune disease. You should probably go see rheumatology. Rheumatology wouldn't see me. They didn't think it was anything that was concerning. I was dropping things and stuff like that for a while before all of this happened. I was struggling with doing my makeup, things like that, but I just kind of was like, chalked it up to just like, I'm experiencing numbing and tingling in my hands, and that's kind of the usual for me. Like, it is what it is. But then it progressively got worse. I couldn't remember things. I felt like I couldn't say my sentences clearly. I felt like I just had a lot of brain fog, like something was always at the tip of my tongue, like that feeling, but you can't get it out, or saying things backwards and not being able to like form words. I started getting really dizzy, having really severe vertigo, and neurology saw me. She thought it was because I just wasn't working. She thought it was because I wasn't working and like using my hands as much anymore. And when I say working, I mean like a normal person job. Obviously I'm still doing acting and modeling and stuff. She just thought my brain wasn't being challenged enough, I guess. And so that's what she talked about. So like, well, you have a lot of downtime. You're not really working a lot. So I got a job and was just traveling back up to LA and stuff as like need be. So I got a job, and my sickness still didn't go away. I was still experiencing things, but not as severe. And then I start my job. I'm so excited. It's the first time I worked in retail in a long time. I got a job at Sephora, and I started getting super sick at work. My chest, once again, I'm gonna insert all these pictures, but my chest would get really flushed, really red. My whole neck would get red. I would get super itchy. I'd feel like I'm gonna pass out. I'd come home, my joints would be swollen. My heart rate was getting really out of whack. My blood pressure was getting super crazy, and I just kept getting worse. I had to call out a couple of times. And it sucks because in my interview I was like, yeah, I used to have really bad health issues, but I don't anymore. Like, praise God. Awkward. But so yeah, so I got really sick. I literally had to quit within like my first month of working there. And that was really hard for me because, you know, I was in a leadership position. I was really excited. I loved everybody I worked with. Still do, shout out to my baes. And I just progressively got worse. I started tremoring, maybe seizing, we don't necessarily know yet, but I started having those kind of experiences. And I just progressively went downhill. I started sleeping every day, like sleeping all day throughout the day. Could barely get up, could barely move, could barely want to pee, could barely like shower, like take care of myself. I just did my retwist now. That was probably, I mean, I kept up the front sometimes. I think that one time I kept up the front was like in December, but even before that, I hadn't retwisted my hair. So this is freshly off of God knows however many months. Like my regrowth was insane. But anyways, so yeah, I just progressively got worse. Wasn't taking care of myself, which is not me, if you know me. And yeah, it just went really downhill. I would be super nauseous after every time I ate. I just am sick. The worst thing you could possibly think of is probably what I have been experiencing for the past year. This happened in March 2025. We're in March 2026. And it just sucks. I had a lot of plans and ideas in my head. I thought I was going to get into TV and film last year. Sorry, once again, trying not to cry. I thought I was going to be in a way different spot than I am now. Anyways, so yeah, I have been really sick for the past year. I seen all these specialists, and my test would just come back slightly abnormal if it was anything, mostly normal most of the time. And when that happens, everybody just is shit out of luck. And I was at Kaiser for a while, and everybody's just like, we don't know, see rheumatologist. And rheumatologist is like, you don't have anything rheumatologic, so I can't help you. And the neurology is like, well, we diagnosed you with F&D, but like, I don't know, I can't help you. You're not like having real seizures. I don't know what to tell you. Then I finally saw a cardiologist because my heart rate would go up to like the 180s. Still dealing with a high heart rate, but so it would go up to like the 180s. I would have dips, things like that. I got diagnosed with like a small arrhythmia. Just not too concerned about it. Then I ended up getting diagnosed with POTS, which I will put a description of everything that I am diagnosed with. So I'm diagnosed with F&D, which is a neurological disorder. That's basically a throwing shit at the wall neurological disorder. If like you're experiencing neurological symptoms, can't really figure it out. POTS is a comorbid condition, a secondary condition, usually to some type of autoimmune disease. We know that for sure. But sometimes it's rare, but sometimes you can just have POTS. So I ended up getting diagnosed with that. So the tremors and stuff is linked to the F&D, the dizziness, the vertigo, all of that stuff. The POTS is linked to my heart rate when I stand up and I sit down, and I get really dizzy just from like doing small, simple tasks of walking around and getting really tired. That's contributed to my POTS. So I got diagnosed with those things. Still felt like something else was weird and wrong. I started experiencing really crazy flushing and itchiness, but like worse than what I was already experiencing it when I worked at Sephora. And it would come on randomly. Most of my symptoms I do experience at nighttime or early in the morning. But so I would get really flushed, I'd get really itchy, I'd get a low grade fever, not necessarily contributed to the MCAS that I'm now diagnosed with. But yeah, so when I saw rheumatology first, they basically no, she didn't diagnose me. She tried to chalk something up to an STD, and I'm just going to be really open about that because this is my health journey, and like people don't talk about this stuff enough. People don't talk about having disabilities enough. People aren't open and vulnerable on what this journey looks like and how to advocate for themselves. I was getting ulcers in my mouth. Now I'm starting to experience ulcers in my nose. I've noticed like sometimes I'll notice a little bit of blood here and there, but I still experience ulcers in my mouth sometimes, but I'll get them in my nose now as well. She sent me for STD testing, and something came back as a false positive. I've gotten further testing to show that it's negative, but she tried to chalk it up to, oh, you just have an STD, so. Girl, who? Girl. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Not judging the girlies who have STIs or STDs or anything like that. But not over here, sister. I ain't never had any type of bump, lump, crumpet. You know, that's never been my portion. I get regularly tested. Sister does not have an STD. And I know things can be dormant and all of that, but I literally got a spinal tap done. Came back negative for everything. Anyway, moving on. So we weren't happy with that because how are you just going to chalk up all my symptoms to an STD that I now randomly have? Girl, boo. So we go to our second rheumatologist. she's like, you don't have joint swelling, but does this hurt? Started squeezing me all over my body. And I'm in pain. I'm even doing it to myself. It hurts. I can't be hugged tightly. Got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Basically, fibromyalgia is just like your neurons are really sensitive. Another throwing shit at the wall of you're in chronic pain and your joints hurt, but we can't attribute it to anything rheumatologic or autoimmune meds right now. That's basically what that is. Got diagnosed with that. Okay, cool, whatever. And about 2016, 2017, I would get crazy swollen eyes and face swelling. Saw an allergist and he just was like, you just get stress eyes. Sorry. Okay. I mean, my mom just left it alone because whatever. Now, my new allergist, Smooches, was like, well, yes, because I, have chronic urticaria, which is just chronic hives. But he was like, what you're describing to me and what I see in your chart does not sound like that. And he's also an immunologist, which is fantastic, which is a researcher of autoimmune diseases, new diseases that are coming around or syndromes that affect people. And he was like, so do you want to know what I think? And he was like, I think you have MCAS. We're not really sure if MCAS is autoimmune related. Blah, 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 blah. MCAS, what is that? My new diagnosis. Basically, MCAS is your body has an allergic reaction to things that should not cause an allergic reaction. So that contributes to my nausea, my random itchiness, like anything can throw me off at any time. Even if I've eaten it before, even if I smelled it before, I can still have a reaction. Your body just picks and chooses, and it is what it is, babes. And how you get diagnosed with that is through certain things in your urine. So I had to do God knows how many 24-hour urine tests. And you pee in a jug for 24 hours. They send it off to the lab. It gets tested. Mine finally came back during a flare I was having, and I had a high LTE4, which is a type of mast cell that gets produced in your urine that they look for. That has to deal with your lungs. I've been having chest pain and shortness of breath as well. Even doing this right now, I'm like running out of breath, but whatever. And yeah, so I have been dead sick for a year, and it really sucks. I thought I was going to be in a completely different space than what I'm in. And, being diagnosed with these things is amazing, but it also is really hard because MCAS is also considered a secondary or comorbid condition for right now because they're still doing a lot of research on it. But for right now, it's usually linked to something else, just like how POTS is. It's a dysautonomia thing. Excuse me. Your nervous system is irregulated. Your body systems are irregulated. What can they attribute that to? They don't necessarily know. So yeah, I've been talking with my allergist, and yeah, he kind of speaks about MCAS like it is an autoimmune disease. I think that's kind of what they're trying to lean towards in their research with MCAS, but it's nowhere near there yet. It's a still very rare syndrome and a very rare condition. But yeah, and all of that being said, I've also had to switch doctors because Kaiser just does not take anything seriously, in my opinion. It's kind of like, well, until you're like drop dead on the floor, I can't help you. Like they don't go the extra mile of what I feel like should be taken with my healthcare or people like me's healthcare. You can't just be like, okay, we diagnosed you with POTS. Take a salt tab, sit on a bike, see you later. And even for my neurologist, we'll see you in a year. You have new symptoms, cool. The cardiologist, see you in a year. Hope riding that bike goes well for you, see you in a year. The only person who regularly keeps up with me is my allergist. And he was, trained by one of the top allergists for MCAS, so it makes sense. Coming to find out, as now the person I will be seeing, he recommended me at Scripps is now where I'm going to be going. But yeah, if anybody is watching this, struggling, going, so rude. My SD card tried to tell me you got full, girl, no you didn't. Yeah, what I was going to say is if you're going through health issues and you are trying to figure that stuff out, do not be afraid to advocate for yourself and switch doctors if you can. Oops, sorry. Do not be afraid to advocate for yourself and find new doctors if you can. I know that this is really frustrating, but fight for yourself. I saw 3 rheumatologists and all of them have told me no so far. Okay, beautiful. They don't think, let me not be mean. My ANA has been negative so far, even though I've experienced a butterfly rash. I've experienced all things lupus or mixed connective tissue disease, and they are just like, your ANA is negative. Okay, finally, my C-reactive protein came back a little high, and they're like, okay, so there is inflammation in the blood. Yeah, boo, we know. So, don't be afraid to push outside the box. I know not everybody can afford also to switch healthcares. The amount of money I'm paying right now, and trying to figure out what meds are now covered and things like that is really, really hard. But it's worth it because my new team of doctors is chef's kiss. I'm seeing some of the best specialists in their practice, and I'm really happy for that. And if things continue not to go well, my new doctor even suggests that I do start working with a research hospital. So that's really scary kind of to hear, like just having my life flipped upside down in a way that I never thought it would be flipped upside down. And it's hard because these people think you're just like doing shit for shits and giggles. And I literally had to yell at a doctor one time and be like, you think I'm going to be here? You think I'm going to be kikiing it with you and hanging out? I do not want to be sitting here at your doctor's office talking to you about me feeling half dead. I don't want to be sitting here crying. Like, you think I'm trying to get one over on you, or like I'm making up my symptoms? If I could be a normal functioning 24-year-old young intern with the girls and being on set and doing what I love, I would very much rather be fucking doing that. Please choke and live, because I'm a Christian. Hallelujah. But yeah, it's so disgusting to me how the healthcare system treats people. And I've, you see bits and pieces of it in other people's experiences, but to have it happen to you is just like, brother, like, praise God I'm a retired crash out. Because, let me not even say retired, because sometimes it gets to places where I'm like, I'm refurbished. I don't crash out about like the dumbest things anymore. I'll say I'm a refurbished crash out. I crash out about important things. And my health is one of them. You literally have me so fucked up. And yeah, I just feel like Kaiser did not give a fuck about nothing and did not care about me. So they had to get the boot. So yes, I'm now at Scripps. Even trying to make the decision on if that was worth it was really hard. But my primary care doctor, love her to pieces, kind of just was like, I don't know. I don't think she's ever had a super complex patient before. And I just don't think she knows what to necessarily do with that. But my allergist, if you are at Kaiser and you have Kaiser Healthcare, Kevin Say, and if you're in the SoCal area, if you're in San Diego, or Los Angeles or wherever you're willing to travel, Kevin Say is an allergist and immunologist. I could not recommend him more. That's where you need to go. The most perfect human being, the sweetest human being, and takes your concerns seriously and tests your things out of the box. Will continue to have your tests be done, even if they're negative at first, because guess what? Our bodies are weird, and sometimes things don't really, piece themselves together the first time always. The amount of urine tests I had to do just for this illness, whatever I had going on in general, has been a lot. But with him, I've had to do it every time I've had a flare. But just because I'm having a flare doesn't even necessarily mean it's connected to my MCAS. Thank God the one time it was, and it showed a positive index that my labs progressed from my baseline that we did. So, it showed a little bit of, hey, something is clearly happening here with the MCAS situation. So I was able to be diagnosed with that. However, one of my flares, I had like a fever and was experiencing all those things, perfectly normal. So yeah, it's a hard uphill battle that I've been having to face. And, I don't know. I do feel really kept in this season. I recently cried and had a breakdown though the other day, because of this ER experience I had, but that will be its own separate video. But anyway, yeah, God has really kept me, and I am so thankful for that. I thought my mental health would be like in the pits. I haven't been. Ooh, excuse me. I've been really optimistic. I'm like, I know I'm going to be an actress. It's just on when. I know I'm going to be the girl. It's just on when. It's on God's timing. It's not my time. And, just really trusting in that. Doesn't make this journey easier or not as frustrating just because I trust God through it all. Because humans are frustrating. Life is frustrating. All of those things are annoying. But am I like wanting to? No. And I feel like if this would have happened to me a few years ago, I definitely would have wanted to and go ahead and be out of here and be off this planet. Not deal with this shit. But I'm surprisingly very optimistic, and I may not sound like it because I'm tired and I'm filming this tired, but I am very optimistic. And I trust my doctors. I'm so excited about my new team of doctors. I just started with all of them like last month, so I'm having appointments back to back, which is aiding in my tiredness. My family has a lot of birthdays. birthdays this month in March and in April, so it's like trying to balance that all. But it's like I'm missing out on so many things because I don't have the energy. I'm not able to text people back. I'm not able to respond. People are asking me to do shoots. Can't do shoots. Can't do this. Can't do that. I sleep in my bed all day. Shower when I can. I'm not gonna lie. Shower when I can. Take a bath when I can. I pee, God knows, barely any times of the day because that's how exhausted I am. I'm asleep all day. Like the fatigue, I can't even like describe that to you. But yeah, I just wanted to be raw and real of where I'm at, where I've been. Because I know friends are asking and a lot of people are asking. And I don't feel like texting everybody a paragraph of I'm half dead. I don't have it. Sorry, I just don't. I don't have the energy to be like, hey, so this was my life the past year and I'm like actually dying even trying to send this to you, and let me send you links about what I'm diagnosed with. And I'm still trying to figure it out. And if I don't figure it out, I have to go to research hospital and all the things. But my life is it's a shit show probably on the outside looking in. So yeah, I just don't have the energy for that. And so if you care and you're here, I love that for you. Here's the inside scoop. Beautiful. But yeah, I miss my friends. I miss being social. I miss even like supporting my friends and things that they invite me to and being able to be there for them. Art shows, singing, performing, like, oh, want to do this cool concept shoot idea that I have, no babe, sorry, I can't be there. You know, and even like I thought, yeah, I was gonna have a TV and filmation. I was getting auditions and stuff, and it was just hard. And then I declined, so it's like I couldn't even imagine me trying to do that right now. It's almost like a blessing in disguise. My agency is no longer doing commercial bookings, and they will no longer be representing commercial talent, so I have to go find a new one. But that's another whole video on its own, and I won't be finding a new one probably for a very long time. I will probably have them represent me in TV and film because they do that, and they are a great agency. They are an agency that's attached to Wilhelmina Models, so I would like to stick with them. But yeah, they're not representing commercial anymore, so we'll probably stick with them for TV and film. But you know, I have to do everything when the timing is right, and it just sucks because I do feel like I'm literally starting my career over when I will be healthy, but maybe that's what God wants me to do. And I just have to trust in that. And I just have to be creative and show up for myself in ways that I can until I can do what I love again. Until I can do what I love again with a healthy body. And not like a permanently healthy body, because I will never be able-bodied again. But with a body that is functioning, and I can function throughout the day, and I can show up, and I can do my job, and I can still be the best at it, even if I need to say, all right, let me get 5 minutes to sit down. You got a shot of salt, you got a pickle, a girl needs some salt for this Patiana, honey. You know, but yeah, that's where my life has been for the past year. That's why I literally posted a YouTube video in December and then all of a sudden just like fell off the wagon, is because I, you know, didn't have anything I really wanted to talk about on YouTube. That was like the one video I have literally still. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna get on my grind. And then I got sick and was just deceased for a year. So with that being said, I'm going to be yapping on here more. I don't really have anybody to yap to. It takes a lot of energy for me to yap and to hear about other people's lives right now. It's like, bro, I can't even. And things are just so minuscule when you're sick. Like, you hear about other people's problems and you're like, that's what you're upset about? I can't. So I don't even have the empathy right now or the, like, wit to be a good friend. So I know my friendships are failing. But for the people that do know and that I, you know, walked through this journey with me a little bit in the beginning that I was regularly talking to, they don't take it personally. But it's hard to know that you're not being a good friend because I don't have it. I just don't have it. I don't have the emotional capacity and I just don't have the energy. Like, my friend called me the other day and I was like, girl, I'm napping. It's my 10th nap of the day. I'm not available. Or like when I did talk to my friend, she called me and it just was like, I'm about to fall asleep. Like, hearing you talk, I can't even like support you right now. Or just, yeah, like talking on the phone takes so much energy. I had to tell my friends like, I love you, but I cannot FaceTime. I can't talk on the phone. I'm too out of breath. I'm too tired. I love you, but I can't. So yeah, also knowing you can't be a good friend also sucks. Like, this whole situation just sucks. Long story short. And I'm sorry, this probably is really depressing for some to watch, but I just had to get it off my chest. And also maybe help somebody relate and understand that there's other people that feel like this. It's not just you. But yeah, trusting God still, being happy still in the small moments that I can, and enjoying those small moments that I can where I do feel well. Today was one of them. Went to the beach with my family and it was super cutesy, but I can tell I'm starting to get in a flare. I'm getting really sweaty. I'm getting really hot. I just woke up from a nap just to film this. I fell asleep, but I was like, I have to get this done, and my makeup was done already for the day, so I was like, gotta get it done. Fresh beat, hair's done. Take your shots, sister girl. But I love you, and thank you for watching. And if you are one of my friends watching this, I love you and I care about you, and me ignoring you is not intentional. It is intentional because I'm tired, but it's not like I hate you intentional. But yeah, any questions that you want, advice on whatever, let us just know. I am still going to be posting acting advice and modeling advice and things like that when I can and have the energy. But, you know, we'll get there when we get there. But I do love you all. And this is just going to be videos about my journey. Videos about my journey, about my life. So when I do win an Emmy, when I do win an award, I can have the dopest edits.